questions to ask throughout a campaign with the confidence rising. I told WDF don't switch, good times are coming on even deep diving. Fan cams, reactions, watch along, still the pride of London thriving. The Eagles of South, they flying. Keep your eyes on us, we ain't hiding.
Yes, guys, and welcome back to TACT-EAGLE. It's a brilliant name. Well done, Dan, for coming up with that.
I didn't come up with that. I can't take the credit. I didn't come up with it.
You done it?
Nate might have. Definitely wasn't me.
All right, then all credit goes to Nate then. But we're back. We played United literally, this time last week? I think, exactly a week ago now. And we're playing them again because of unfortunate circumstances. They had to reschedule the games. They've rescheduled City and Arsenal game as well, which is fun because March is going to be even busier than it already was. So thanks, Premier League. It's not like we have fans or anything, but, it is what it is. But if anything, it's a good thing. We got it fresh in our mind, the 1-1 draw against Man United, and we're going to talk about it, see what we can do to change, see how we set up in the game we just played, and how we can set up to improve on what we've done. So, Dan, do you want to start us off today?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the game back again today on a replay, like the entire game, not just the highlights. I thought we definitely played a lot better in the second half. Whether that's because United were winning and therefore holding back a little bit, I don't know. But I thought we definitely played better in the second half. Also, upon reflection of the game as well, I think in terms of our attacking play, I thought we had the right ideas, but I think a few of our attackers just dropped absolute stinkers. Like, looking back on it, Edouard was actually terrible. Mateta was good as a focal point, but didn't really do much else. Zaha was terrible. Elise, apart from the free kick, again, was also terrible. I think the system itself wasn't too bad. I think it was just they all just happened to drop absolute stinkers that game.
A question that I'll ask you, because I've sort of been thinking it for the last couple of games now. Do you think that having all those players on the pitch at one time just isn't working? Because I don't remember a single game, probably apart from Everton, that having Edouard, Zaha, Eze, and Elise all on the pitch at the same time has actually worked.
I think I don't think it really does, to be honest. I think in theory it will work. Like, you'd have Zaha on the left, you'd have Elise on the right, Edouard up top, and then Eze back. But I think the problem is that none of them, I don't think any of them really do the defensive side well enough for them all to be there, if that makes sense. I'm sure we'll touch on it later, but like, there are a lot, like, looking back at the game, there are a lot of glaring holes that were missed because players weren't tracked, they weren't covered either. So if someone did push up, there wasn't the other person there to cover. I think as well, trying to shoehorn them all in, I think also has another effect of they all know that they're going to get picked. And I think when they all know they're going to get picked, I think that allows them to kind of drop their performances. And I think then they get a bit lazy. Whereas if you don't have all of them in, I think it builds that little bit of competition. I know that they don't all necessarily play in the same position, but at least it builds up that competition. It makes them think, oh, I've actually got work to be in the starting 11. But no, I personally, at present, I don't think it does. What about you, JC?
Yeah, I think I hate talking about this guy because Palace seem to be obsessed with him. But when Eze was injured, and we had Gallagher playing in the 10, but we also had Chet Kouyaté and Will Hughes or Maka sitting slightly behind him. I thought that system actually worked out a lot better than the system we have now, purely because of the energy. Like, obviously, Eze is technically so much better than Gallagher. I think everyone would agree with that. But the fact that he's got the energy to keep running, the pressing and the tackling, and that he's actually not afraid to come out wide as well and help the winger, which is something that I think was a little bit underrated with his game, because he spent a lot of time over there helping Elise. And I think it's just sort of the energy and the physicality of being in the midfield. I think Gallagher showed what we are missing in a 10 position. We don't need someone that's extremely flary. We need someone that's like a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 week in, week out. And unfortunately, all the guys we have up top are very inconsistent players, and that's just a fact now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've got, going back to what you're saying about Gallagher helping on the wings, I think for the system we had last season, I thought that was so crucial. And I thought that was why we played so well, because our midfield was, when James MacArthur wasn't injured, I thought was so well balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had Gallagher effectively going up and down the pitch, helping either in attack on the wings. And I think that created overloads on the wings. But watching back a lot of our games, we don't really seem to do that anymore. It kind of, it's evolved a little bit this season, but it started off absolutely, I think, terribly. It was literally like, I'll give it to the winger, see what they can do. They got next to no support. I think that has evolved a little bit. I think, especially on the right hand side, I think Nathaniel Klein is going up a bit more. Mitchell as well, but focusing on the right, where like Gallagher, I think generally was on that right hand side. It kind of feels like Elise gets the ball, he kind of cuts inside a little bit. Klein will overlap, but then, okay, yes, that does help, but you need a third person in there too. I think just having two people is very predictable, because it's literally like, okay, the defenders just come out, they overlap, but then all you got to do is follow that. What you need is either someone attacking that space, that person that has come over to cover the overlap. You either need someone running in there, or I don't know, you need like another overlapper or something like that. I don't think two is enough, and I think Gallagher provided that third option really, really well.
Yeah, because I actually think we did that, what you're talking about, very well when we played against Bournemouth, when IU was up top, because IU came out to the wings and helped, like during that sort of situation, sort of like a give and go scenario. So Elise would pass it infield to IU, I would come short and pass it out, and Elise would run round the guy. But because the pass to IU's already beaten one man, if Klein then overlaps Elise, then you've got that third man again. So then he is effectively free, I guess, behind the back four. So he's got a good chance of running and getting a good ball in the box. The only downside to that is IU's our striker. He should be in the box, but he's not going to be there. So that's where we need Zaha and Eze to tuck in and get into the box, but we know they don't.
Well, this is it. And I think, well, at least my hope for last season, I was hoping Eze would be able to fill that James MacArthur role. I think going forwards, I think he can do it, but I think it's just defensively, I don't think it's quite there. What I do find quite interesting as well is our wingers don't seem to, it seems like last season, it seemed like our wingers generally used to come back and help a lot more. This season, they don't really seem to do that. Like generally last season, the way I saw it was that you had our back four, you then had effectively what was a 5 in front of them, because you basically had the two wingers in addition to the 3 midfielders. Whereas this season, for whatever reason, I know Elise is playing maybe a little bit more. Maybe that's possibly why. But then Zaha on the other side just isn't doing that as much. Why that is, I don't really know, and I think it's a bit weird, to be honest.
I reckon when you talk about Zaha, I think that he knows himself that he's lost his pace. So I reckon that if he's all the way back, he hasn't actually got the pace to get up the field fast enough. Because usually under a couple of years ago under Roy, he'd be helping out Van Arnold so much at left back, but because those two guys were so fast, when we were on the break, those guys were probably the first people up the pitch. But now that Zaha's not got the pace he used to have, he's sort of got to adapt his game so that when he uses the acceleration, because he's still got the acceleration, it's just the speed he ain't got no more.
Yeah.
So I think he's evolved his own game in trying to stay a bit further forward, that the top speed actually isn't being used that much, because bloody Ericsson outran him the other day.
Well, yeah, and Ericsson's got a pacemaker, so I think that I honestly can't remember the last time.
Stole my joke.
Well, yeah, honestly, I can't remember the last time Zaha sprinted. Like, I genuinely can't remember.
I reckon he's been carrying injury for a while, you know, because his leg's been strapped for a hell of a long time.
Yeah, and that's not a normal thing for him either. It's not like he's been doing that for years. Like, I can't ever recall him really doing that. So, yeah, I wonder that too. But then I also then question why is he then playing? To be honest, but
yeah, but then you got to turn around and say, well, what other winger do we have? Edouard can do a job, but he's not a winger, though, is he?
True. This is true. And I suppose when you have Edouard playing there, we kind of come back to the same problem of I don't think he will necessarily come back that much.
Yeah, because he is at heart a striker, and strikers normally don't defend at left back. So
well, exactly, especially when his last club was Celtic. I don't think he ever had to do much defending.
Very true. Do you want me to go through my clipboards first, or do you want to go through your clipboards first?
You go first.
Okay, so let me get this up. So here is how I think that both teams will set up. I reckon that we'll set up in a 4-2-3-1, and Man United will carry on with their 4-3-3 formation. But I reckon that their lineup will be pretty much unchanged, apart from Garnacho coming in for Anthony. I think that that's a pretty easy swap for Ten Hag because Anthony's been not been having the best time lately, getting a lot of stick on social media, and also he didn't have the best time against Mitchell either, did he? So
no, he got quite wound. He lost his head a bit as well, which I think is also another problem with him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got subbed. I think he's sure he was one of the first guys to get subbed off in that game as well, wasn't he?
Let's have a look.
Because I think Garnacho was on for a good amount of time.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he got subbed off at 70. So
yeah, so he didn't last very long. I think that even though Weghorst hasn't been looking like he's doing the business right now, he's really the only striker they've got. So they're sort of shoehorned into playing him. I'm not sure how far back Sancho is, whether he's on the bench or... Do you know? Or is he still off for mental health problems?
I don't think he's going to be back for a while, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm. But apart from that,
I don't think he'd come straight back in anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, he'll probably want his first game to be an away game, a home game anyway, wouldn't he?
I guess it is. Wait, it's away, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm saying so for him, he'd want his he'd want his first match back to be a home game because the crowd's not going to be hostile against him.
True.
For example.
That is true.
But yeah, I reckon that they'll other than Garnacho, I reckon they'd play the exact same 11 they played against us because it is a very good team. Let's be fair.
Yeah. No, I think. Yeah, I mean the thing is, before our game, I think they won 12 on the bounce. So I think it's obviously a winning formation. We just managed to get a result.
Yeah, and I think the main point that I'm looking at when I'm looking at their team is their midfield is set up how I think Vieira wants to set up our midfield. In a sense, they've got a 6, they've got an 8, and they've got a 10.
Yeah.
And I reckon that's what Vieira's really trying to push for in our team, but unfortunately, we just don't have the players for it right now. Well, okay, we don't have the 8. We've got the 6 and the 10. We just don't have the 8.
Sorry, JC, you've just cut out. 1 sec.
I might have just cut out because the connection's bad.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Wait 1 sec. Let me get my earphones. Sorry, JC.
No worries. Let's go through some comments. Just double checking you guys can hear me. Or what? I'm not sure. Let me just wait for the chat to catch up. think I'm still making noise. Am I? Yeah, I think I am. All right, cool. Comments, Chairman.
Hello.
Yeah, what's up?
Hello.
You back?
I'm back. Sorry about that. There's an Alexa in here as a speaker, and it just decided to just completely disconnect. And there's no other speakers on this computer, so.
Yeah, we're just hitting out some comments. We got Niall, we got Rich,
Big up.
we got Brush, we got Solo, we got Santi.
Big up.
We've got 3 games coming up between this match. This is a very good talking point as well because we have 2 weeks off pretty much.
Yeah, we don't have a game until then. Yeah.
So it's going to be nice to actually have some time off for everyone to rest up because that last 2 weeks was crazy, especially for us to have with a squad so thin.
Definitely. Who have Man United actually got? I'm guessing they must have a couple European games.
I'm not sure.
Cup, I'm guessing.
Can you check it while I go through these comments?
Yeah.
True City fan, how you doing? Santi says my favourite fidget spinner starts. Sancho back in training. Don't see him coming back unless it's Reading this weekend. Here's one. Dan, what would you do if when Anderson's fit again?
When he's fit,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a bit controversial. I'm gonna say that I think he should go right back. I mean, I don't think that's that massive. Sorry, not Anderson. I mean Richards. So what I would like to see maybe is, Richards playing right back. I don't know. I don't think in terms of going forward, I don't think he'd be there. But I think what could happen is that on the left-hand side, we could see Mitchell going for committing to always going forwards, and then they can just kind of move over to form like a back three, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I think that could also give more license for Hughes or Decore to also go forwards a bit more. That's what I would do. Just because watching this game back, Klein was pretty poor. Ward is decent, but again, I don't think he should be starting Premier League games in 2023.
Yeah, I agree. I do the exact same thing. I saw some really rogue shouts for some people saying, you probably know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, slap Anderson where he uses, slap him in defensive midfield and let him run wild. But listen, that's a terrible idea.
I don't get that one.
Palace fans, this is how they think. If you can pass, you can play midfield, yeah?
I mean, to be fair, I suppose Anderson's better at passing than Schlupp is. So, I mean, I guess there's some logic to that. But
yeah, I just see it as Anderson's a centre back. There's no way you can change him to think of the game as a midfielder.
This ain't FIFA, lads.
Yeah, it's not a position change. And again, I'm sure on FIFA it takes like 2 years to convert someone to a different position. It's not like how it used to be.
I haven't played FIFA since about FIFA 15, so
yeah. It's not changed. I promise you. Both of you are still alive. We can hear you now. We can hear you.
Good, thank you,
Luke. If we get Spence, would you play a back three?
The only way I would play a back three is
if Richards goes left back or centre, or Mitchell becomes a centre back. I think that's it.
I think Mitchell could play a left wing back, but what I would want to see from the centre backs is I would want to see them going forwards, because like Gay is good with the ball. I think he can run forwards. Richards as well, I think, is very good at like making driving runs. Well, at least from what I've seen, driving runs into that midfield. I think if that was the back three with that intention, then yeah.
That's yeah, Rich says he put Richards left back and either use Bowie or Spence, depending on which one we get in, to just be that one flying fullback.
Yeah. No, I think Bowie, from what I've seen, I think he would be brilliant. I think he'd be brilliant at that. Not gonna lie. And he's played in a back five before as well, and so has Jed Spence, to be fair.
Moving on to our team, I'd say unchanged in the City game, apart from Edouard for Zaha, because I'm pretty sure Zaha's out for a while, and I just want to see Hughes back in that midfield because we saw the light side with Hughes against Man United, and then we saw the dark side against Newcastle. So I want to go back to the Draco Malfoy light because he just made such a difference. I think just the tackles and how he was putting himself about just made everyone feel a lot better about themselves. I don't know if that makes any... It's not statistical of any sense, but it just made everyone feel better watching the game, seeing a midfielder actually getting stuck in.
I think that's it. Like, but then we love that, don't we? Like, we love seeing people just putting tackles. Like, bookies must absolutely hate Will Hughes because he's a dead cert to get a yellow card like every single game. But people love that. Do you know what I mean? Like, people love the energy.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a very Palace thing that even if you're absolutely awful at football, if you try 100%, you're putting tackles in and you're trying, the Palace fans will love you. If you don't score no goals, but you're trying, I'm sure that you'll have a place in the Palace squad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think not being able to score goals, I think, is a requirement.
Well, that means I use the perfect guy for Palace, surely.
Well, some would say.
All right, Dan, let's see what you got.
Right, how do I do? Do I go present?
Yeah, go present and then share screen.
All right, calm. So,
Rich coming through said, "Do not get Dan to discuss VG."
Why? Oh, I'm just
It was the pause moment that's on TikTok.
It was
so
the pause.
if you guys want to check that out, TikTok's in the description, I believe. Well, and rumors about Semenyo. I'm leaving it as rumors because I highly doubt we're going to pay over £10 million for. Are they in League One or are they in the Championship?
They're in the Championship.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to pay over £10 million for someone that's not scored that much. He's a great player, great young player, but I don't think he's got the numbers to back up that price tag right now.
Yeah, I do think
if it was about what 8 million, maybe 8, 7, maybe 9 million, I'd say definitely. But they want more than 10, so I think it's a bit too much for the numbers he's putting out.
Yeah, I mean, I always do something I call the Twitter test, which sounds a lot dodgier than it actually is. But I always Google the player. I always I always search their name on Twitter first and see what their fans say about them. If they're not that bothered that they're leaving, then I'm like, okay, they're obviously not that good. But if
I do the same thing. I talked about in my Transfer Weekly when I was talking about the Stuttgart guy. I said that if the fans are upset he's going, and you got a half decent player at least.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like, I feel like if they're not that bothered, to me, that's a red flag. But right, you can see it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've done this. Well, I feel powerful.
Don't worry, I can take away your power if I want. Let's go full screen.
So I just wanted to pick up the goal that we conceded because I thought it was very not good. I haven't got the actual. I don't know how to do the names yet. I'm not that sussed out on it yet. But basically, that's Nathaniel Klein.
If you click on the little cog, then it says name in the top right.
Okay, cool. Right, so we got Natty Klein there. We have Richards there. We have our standard Mark Gay. So in this, if I can actually spell that, would help. So we got Mark Gay, and then we have Tyrick Mitchell. So we have these 6 outfield players back. Obviously, that's VG and Gar. I'm not gonna do that. That's Corey.
You're not gonna give VG a job description today.
No, last time there was a massive pause moment, so I'm gonna leave that one for today. But let's just say I ballsed it up. That was sorry, that was terrible.
It was terrible. I can't lie.
Right, Rashford. That was Rashford. So basically, So what happened was that Klein just decided to lump the ball long. It ends up like down here somewhere, and then Luke Shaw gets it, and it ends up kind of like over here. And then what happens is that Bruno Fernandes gets the ball in this kind of position. So Nathaniel Klein is like over here. Actually, no, beg your pardon. So yeah, over here. These two players aren't relevant really, but you have Weghorst. Actually, I guess they kind of are. Weghorst, and this was Anthony. So now the reason why all these players are down here, they weren't actually in these positions. If anything, they should actually be off the screen, because basically what happened was that they were all caught up in this position up here. Elise, everyone. I'm going to even like show them like coming in a little bit like a bit later. In fact, I actually should name it Elise because I'm gonna bring him up in a minute. So the ball's like over here. So what happens? Nathaniel Klein is trying to stay here because obviously he doesn't want, like, he's worried about this, gap and whatever. Now, what Fernandes does is that he passes it to Rashford over here. So Rashford has the ball over here. Then what Eriksen does, what that does, it means Nathaniel Klein comes over to here. Now, I personally think he comes too far over. He like ends up over here. So what you end up with is like a little. Is there a thing where I can like show the space? I guess.
Like a circle.
Oh, I can just make that bigger, can't I? So that opens up this space. Now you're probably thinking, well, what does Decore do? Well, Decore does go over. But what I noticed was then that Eriksen goes through. No one picks him up. Like between Klein and Decore, they both just kind of let him go.
They both start pointing at each other, and no one's actually going.
Yeah, exactly. They both start pointing at each other. At the moment, Fernandes, who scored the goal, is here. Hughes is about here. Anthony and Mitchell over here, but they're not really relevant to this, to be fair. They have Gay, because the thing is, whilst Weghorst didn't really do anything, his presence does cause problems. So Rashford pokes this through. That takes out two players. Klein, who was terrible, so I guess that don't really matter. But it also took out Decore as well. Like this little gap here. Personally, I think Klein should have been here. I think he should have showed. We know Rashford's right-footed. Show him down his left. That's what I would. That's what I think should have happened. But anyway, Klein ends up in this position now. Sorry, Eriksen ends up in this position. Now everyone's really worried. Decore and Klein are now out of the game. By this point, by the way, Elise's over here. Now what happens is everyone panics and runs over. So Weghorst does his thing, runs in the box. These are proportionally really weird. But like Gay, Richards, they all go in. Like I think Gay's watching Weghorst, but Hughes goes in and Richards goes in. Now what the problem is now Fernandes is there. Now before this final pass, I'm going to have a quick moan about Elise because Elise was here by this point. Realistically, if you're defensively switched on, and this is why I think Elise needs to learn more defensively, he should have covered there. That's where he should have been, because he wasn't that far away. Like it's not. I'm not saying that he should have sprinted the whole way, but he didn't need to sprint. Like he was jogging, and he could have ended up there quite easily. But he wasn't. He was over here. So all Eriksen had to do, cross it over. Oh, Eriksen didn't cross himself. Sorry. He crossed it over here. Fernandes gets the ball here. They're all over here because they're trying to block the cross. They think he's going to cross it to Weghorst, who by now is here. Fernandes gets the ball, does a little touch, comes out, bang, 1-0. And it was literally as simple as that. Getting caught out in the midfield. So getting caught out by just getting rid of the ball. And then just a simple bit of defending. They allowed a one-on-one, allowed Eriksen through too easily. Fernandes was totally unmarked because people panicked, and then that was that. And that was that. That was the goal.
Well, he had he had so much time right in the middle of the box as well, which is a sin in any football game. Then anyone in the box take more than 2 or 3 touches
Yeah.
Like, he should have been closed down way earlier. You know, maybe in another world where if Klein doesn't come out so far and show him to the inside, then maybe Rashford goes down the outside and crosses it out of play. Like, we wouldn't have gone 1-0 down there.
Well, exactly. And it's the thing is, it's always little things like this I find with Palace. It's just little mistakes have been really, really costly for us. And that's
Hasn't it always been like that though with Palace?
Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like it's always these really frustrating things that we just kind of let slip. And the problem is when you're playing a team, just even not even necessarily Man United, just any Premier League team, you just end up getting punished. But alas.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you have anything else? I had. Well, I haven't sorted it out on here, but I've got one more thing to how I think we could play.
Yeah, you can mash that up while I talk about. Should we talk about Palace when defending or when we're attacking?
Oh wait, it's when we're defending. That's what I've got it as. Okay. I think it's a way to kind of catch United out a little bit, because it's something that we did more so in the second half, which I thought was quite effective. But and I think it kind of goes against United as well.
Alright, so while you do that, I'll talk about what I think we'll do when attacking. So when we've got possession and how we'll play. So, in my opinion, when United are defending, they go into a back five pretty much. Casemiro drops to a centre back. They push out Wan-Bissaka and Shaw. They push them out a little bit wider. Eriksen and Fernandes tuck in. So you've just sort of got a massive, really compact batch of 7 players there.
Yeah.
And it's extremely hard to break down. Even though Fernandes and Eriksen, they're not particularly good in attack or when defending. Just having a body in an area when in between the ball and the goal is an obstacle to get round. But the main thing with Man United is when looking at the front three for them, with let's say it's with the guys I've put here, Garnacho, Weghorst and Rashford. These guys will just press. They'll keep pressing until they win the ball back. So when we've got the ball, all they'll do is just screen this whole area, sort of the front half of the opposition half of their half, if that makes sense, and a little bit into the opposition half. They'll just be running around, pressing the ball, making it so that the only option for Gay in here, if he's got the ball, for example, is just that ball. But then Shaw can cut that out, for example. So it's sort of like a zonal press. So you just make it as hard as possible for us to play.
Yeah.
Because if you can do that effectively, I've said it before, for a team which is supposedly meant to be comfortable on the ball, well passed under pressure, we are terrible at passing under pressure.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
So if they have just those three just following the ball around, pressing all at once, hunting in packs, we're gonna make a mistake. And let's be fair, if they get the ball back, they're gonna give the ball straight to Mr. Fernandes over here. And you know what happens the second he gets the ball? This happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly.
And put it this way, Elise ain't gonna run back. If Mitchell's all the way up here when we've got the ball, he ain't gonna run back. I don't think Gay's got the pace to catch up with him, but I don't think Klein has. So I think Gay's got Garnacho there, but Rashford, he'll basically, he does something very well, in my opinion. When he's in front of a man, it's almost impossible to get round him. And I think that's a very good skill that he has, that he can just, if he's in front of the guy, he can come inside without issue. Like with Zaha, for example, If he needs to cut in left, he needs to cut inside, and there's a guy behind him, Zaha will stop and then try and run around him. But Rashford will just use the pace and do a nice curve as he's running.
Yeah.
So I think that even though I'm talking about us when we have possession, I think even when we have possession, I'm more scared of Man United on the counter-attack because they've been so lethal with bringing the ball out wide with so much speed and then getting the ball inside for Rashford to tap it in, for Eriksen to come into the box late, Fernandez coming into the box late. Like, they've got some serious threats. But when we talk about Palace when we're holding the ball, Mitchell going up and Klein going up really can just swap because it really doesn't matter. If we're going up this side, then it will sort of swap like this. Richards will come over, Gay will go in there, Mitchell will go in there, Edouard will stay over there, Mateta will shift over a bit, and Elise will go up top, and then Klein will go in there.
Yeah.
So the ball will be passed around, and we'll have Eze floating, and you'll have Decore and Hughes floating around. But it's not really a very structured attack. It's sort of we pass it to who's free,
Yeah,
and then inevitably we lose the ball and we try and break someone down, and we don't try to counter attack enough. I think that's probably where we're most lethal because we've got players with pace and with good skills. It's just that the players that we've got, the decision making ain't there.
No, I completely agree. And like there were so many instances in that last game where someone would like the ball would be passed like directly to them, like along the floor, not like quite low, and a bad touch would just and then that would be it.
Yeah, perfect example. When we was I think we won the corner. I think Man United put a lot of people. Was it Man United or was it Newcastle? I think it was Newcastle actually. We won the corner. We headed it out. I think Decore passed it up to Edouard. I think he only had him and Burn was sort of like 10 meters away from him on the other side of the halfway line.
Yeah.
And the ball got fired into him. You're thinking, yes, good touch. He's turning, he's gone. But the ball pops up in the air, and you're thinking, like, come on, man, you're a professional. Like, this is a key moment where you could have picked up the ball and turned and started running with the ball, but then a bad touch leaves us with no opportunity.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think there were so many instances of that, or just like they just weren't on the same wavelength. That's what I mean. Like, I think in terms of what we were trying to do, I thought in terms of the system, I thought it was pretty spot on. But it was just like the actual players actually doing it. It just weren't happening. It just weren't happening.
Definitely.
But I've got my thing set up of how I think maybe we could.
All right. Well, you're showing right now.
Right. Okay. So, so what Man United love, what they absolutely love more than
Ronaldo.
Yeah, more than Ronaldo. They love a vertical pass. They love it. Because what Fernandez loves,
Do you want to explain what a vertical pass is to all the viewers?
Oh yeah, so a vertical pass is basically a pass for. It's basically a forwards pass. Basically, that's that. Where horizontal is like when you're passing like left to right. Vertical pass is when you just like you ping a ball straight in there, basically. So like Fernandez as well, he absolutely loves to get in these positions. I'm putting Zaha and Elise back a bit, but I think that's quite optimistic. Fernandez loves like this position in this gap in between the where's my shape gone? In between this there we go. In between the midfield. Oh, that's a bit funky. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, just there you go.
He loves these spaces. Like, so he'll always be floating around, like trying to get in there. So I think what we could do is, you know what? Let them do it. I think when they're like over here, like when Varane's got it over here, and like we're literally like back like this, like Shaw's up here, like they're pushing their things high. So you've literally got like Casemiro, Martinez, and like that's basically it. You know what? I say just let them do it. Because like you said, like they're really deadly on that counter attack. And what Ten Hag, especially at Ajax, used to do was that he would lure teams into the trap. So he'd want Mateta to go over there. He'd want Eze to go over there. So then he's able to manipulate the space. So then it draws them out and creates all of this space like over here now, and so on and so forth. That's what he wants. So I think let him do it. That's what I say. Let him do it. I don't think don't get me wrong. I love a high press as much as the next person, but I think on this particular case, I don't think it's really necessary.
Yeah.
Because you get drawn out and you just get picked off. So I say, and let them do their vertical passes. Because what they love when they do their vertical passes, what they love. So like what they'll do is, so say for example, Fernandez is here. They'll have it so let's say Varane's here, and he's pinged the ball into Fernandez. What he'll then do is that as soon as he gets that ball, Anthony's going to make this run like this way. So is AWB. But if Fernandez isn't going to pass to Anthony, what he's going to do is going to pass to Casemiro, and then Casemiro's going to pass out. And this is all like one-touch football. This isn't like 1-2 touches. It's all one touch, and he'll have it over there. AWB will happily overlap, and then you got a 2-on-1, and then he's got to cross into the box for Weghorst, who obviously can header the ball where he thinks are at about 10'2".
A lot taller than us then.
Yeah, I think he's just a glorified Peter Crouch, but there you go. But yeah, so I would say, you know what, let them, but be mindful of the fact that they're going to do this. So what I would like to see is like Hughes kind of like here and Zaha here, so that when they do that, if they pass him the ball, Fernandez is going to get it. But in that moment, I want them to be in a position where Fernandez is that vertical option that they're probably going to go for. So as he goes, Hughes and Zaha can just kind of swarm on him.
Yeah.
That's what I would hope. I mean, obviously they're very good players, so he could theoretically just pass it to Casemiro and then to AWB or something like that. Sure. But I think there's a trap that can be done there that can do this. Yeah. And I think with AWB pushing so high, I think that means that there will then be so much space over here for them to exploit. And another thing I did notice, I don't know if you saw this, and I can't really work out why or when they do this, but sometimes I've noticed, say if they've got the ball like over here, say like AWB's got the ball over here, Shaw like push, it kind of becomes more like that. Like Shaw kind of becomes like another midfielder, similar to what like City do, or like what Alexander Arnold does or did at Liverpool. So he kind of comes over here. So if you did force that trap and say, I don't know, Hughes manages to nip in there, what you then want is Mateta or someone over here in this space, and then you want Elise running into this space because Shaw is like over here somewhere.
Yeah, I've seen it's a slightly different variation of this, but so put Shaw sort of where like near to where Rashford is.
Yeah,
holding the touch line, and then move Weghorst to the other side of Gay, and then put Rashford next to Decore. Because I've seen Man United, and on the other side of Decore.
Yeah,
I've seen Man United set up like this. So just leave a man out really wide, because I was doing it with Anthony as well when they played against us. So that sort of this formation, they'll be playing the ball around, and then when we commit to them, they'll instantly switch it. And then, for example, in this scenario, Shaw will have a free run at Klein. And then you're looking into the box, you've got Weghorst and Rashford in there now, not just Weghorst. You've got more people to aim at.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, I think they know that our two central defenders, I guess quite rightly, are quite static. So Gay will stay there generally, and they will generally move up and down like this line.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? Like they tend to generally stay in these kind of axes, and like that's kind of it, really. And I think they know, and I did see this a couple times in things that didn't really quite come off. What they'll do is that Fernandes might go here, so then that draws Hughes over here. Now Rashford's over here. Now because Richards and Gay are quite strict with where they stay, it means like Decore then comes over here. So then Eriksen kind of wonders a little bit. Now at this time we were playing. It was actually Edouard playing here, so his knowledge to kind of think. Well, actually, it's quite difficult because I suppose in this scenario, who do you choose? Like Eze's one of these two are gonna have to choose these two players. Otherwise, if you don't, you're gonna be in this situation. It could be quite easy as literally as simple as ball goes to Casemiro here. Eze gets tight, so Rashford keeps pulling over here. Then it's a pass to Eriksen, and then you got Shaw running here.
Yeah, pass out to Shaw. Nice cross in the box.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, by the time it gets over here, Elise's over here making a cup of tea. And Klein, as much as I love him, I think defensively he's not quite on it as much anymore. Like Shaw's going to have a nice little cross into the box. Weghorst's going to come behind, and then that could potentially be a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. With what you said about Klein. When I was watching your video about Sasha Bowie and when I was doing my research on him, he's very, very, very fast to close down the guy. He'll always sprint at him.
Yeah.
It does obviously pay off because, you're pressing the guy, you're putting him under pressure. However, it does come with a drawback of he gets loads of fouls. He's always fouling people. But it's probably because of the intensity that he's running at someone to get the ball off them.
Yeah. I think... from memory, I think he had something like 1.9 fouls a game or something, which is pretty mad when you think about it.
So he pretty much gets sent off every game.
And I think it was he gets a yellow card like every 3 games. Which, if you extrapolate, if that was a 38 game Premier League season, he'd have 13 yellow cards, which is like a record. I mean, to be fair, I do think the Premier League's a bit more lenient on that kind of stuff than the Turkish league, but. Yeah, but that was my idea. I do think United are also another thing United don't like. They do like vertical passing, but ironically, when we have the ball, because of how they press, so say like Zaha's over here, they'll have AWB, Varane will be here, Casemiro will be here, Fernandes will be here, and they'll have a lot of players on this side of the pitch.
Yeah.
Something like this. Really what we should be doing is using that, because we don't do it enough. I don't think we don't switch the ball enough, or we don't work it to switch the ball enough.
I think we switch the ball enough, but we're too slow when switching it.
Yeah.
So for example, if the ball's with Zaha and we want it out to Elise, the ball will go from Zaha to Gay to Richards to Klein, and Klein to Elise. It'll take too long.
Yeah.
Where it should really be Zaha to Gay, and Gay should just ping it straight to him.
No, exactly. In fact, this scenario pretty much, if I remember correctly, kind of happened in the game. So, I mean, the names were wrong. They weren't the same names. I think Edouard was still here. Actually, I don't know why I haven't written Edouard on there, but there you go. But it was basically this kind of thing where you had so many of their players were like over here, like closing down this space, that it meant that Varane was kind of over a little bit. Martinez was looking after Mateta, so Shaw was just here. Eriksen was kind of here. But what happened was the ball eventually came to, I think Zaha ran with the ball, and then the ball came in here with Eze, and then the ball then found its way to Elise. Now, because we managed to actually do it quite quickly, it was literally like probably about three or 4 seconds from Zaha to Elise. That meant that Klein had all this space to run into.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when he passed the ball, like they did come over to try and close the space, but it meant Klein was in this position to then try to. I think the cross was terrible. Like I think he spooned it and ended up over here. But it's those situations that United don't like them. And I know we're nowhere near as good as Arsenal, but the amount of one-on-ones that Man United allowed against them, I think that is something that we're able to at least do sometimes and make sometimes dangerous things. But yeah, that was my thoughts on how we could play.
Yeah, I think one more thing. Let me just show my one quick, which is basically exactly what Dan said. But one thing I definitely saw with Man United is we should play to one of our biggest strengths, and that we've got some amazing dribblers in our team. I know Edouard ain't no Zaha, but he's still a very good dribbler. Eze is probably the best dribbler in the team right now, with at least they being a close second.
I agree.
Put it this way: if these guys have the ball and they drive towards the goal, or they try and drive past people, or they get given for example, they get given a through ball or something. Let me get a football. Yeah, so let's say Eze gives him a pass out wide, and Elise to run into it. As long as we're not running into this guy, as long as we're not running at Wan-Bissaka, honestly, I think that Elise's got the beating ashore. I reckon Eze can drive past Casemiro because he's done it. Zaha done it because Casemiro had to take him out to get him suspended for the Arsenal game. And I think when Eze gets going, it's hard to stop him. And we saw that in glimpses against United when he actually came on, when he started driving at the defenders, because when he picked up the ball, he sort of picked up the ball out wide in this situation when him and Zaha were linking up play. The second he got the ball and turned, and Wan-Bissaka was out of reach, he's already left Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
Every single one of their defenders did this. They made, I think they put like 4 or 5 people between him and the goal. They didn't try and press him. They didn't try and go towards him to stop him. They just dropped back as fast as possible because they knew that he was a threat when carrying the ball. And I think we need to play to that strength because we don't seem to do it enough.
No, I agree. That's the thing. I think we've got the talent at our disposal. I think it's just well, I mean, obviously we don't get me wrong, we do need to strengthen in areas. But yeah, I think sometimes I do think we're capable of a little bit more than the players show. But a part of me thinks that it's down to the lack of competition because they know they can drop stinkers and
still,
do you know what I mean? They'll still get into the 11.
I've been saying this about Mitchell for years, ever since Van Aanholt left. He's the only left back, so he's never going to get dropped.
Well, yeah, exactly. Who's his competition? Jeff Schlupp, who they don't want to play there. Joel Ward, who's actually a right back. Yeah, Gyro, he can't get a game. Or
Klein.
Or Teo Ademirola, who's a youth player. Or Klein, who's also a right back.
Yeah, I think final thoughts when looking into this game. I think we can win it by being a bit more adventurous with the ball, moving the ball faster, and driving with the ball. And I think that we need to stay really compact, and we need to show ourselves as well. We need to not make it easy for them to just pass through us. Like we need to, even if you need to commit a foul here or there, just let them know you're there. Because put it this way, if they pick up the ball and you go straight through the back of them, they're gonna think twice about receiving the ball with their back to you.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna have to change a little bit of their playing style just on how the momentum of the game's going.
No, absolutely.
Let's finish off with some comments. Bobby K. Forest versus United's happening now. UK Pat says big up Goat and Statman Bossman. What's up, Louis? Zaha Wilfred out guaranteed. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think they said it was going to be at least a few weeks.
Yeah, Rashford's just scored to beat Wayne on the near post. Hennessy's actually playing in goal for Forest right now.
Well, I guess he must be their cup goalkeeper, is he?
Oh, man.
Or is he? He's not their main goalkeeper, is he?
He can't be. Is he not there anymore?
No, he went. I think I'm fairly sure Dean Hansen went.
Dan, what's your thoughts on Amada? Is he the future for the first team?
I think, I'm not gonna lie, I don't before it was announced, I didn't really know a lot about him. In fact, I actually never heard of him. But I think that's a slight on me rather than him, to be fair. I mean, I did my Twitter check, and the Stuttgart fans seemed pretty unhappy that he was leaving. I don't think he's one for the future. I think he's already played in the Bundesliga, which I think is a pretty. I mean, Chris Richards is exactly the same. Has also played in the Bundesliga. I mean, Chris Richards has also got international experience as well, but he's. I mean, like I said, the Stuttgart fans seem upset about him leaving, and he's in a position that we need. So, I'm happy for it, and I think he would maybe not necessarily start straight away, but he will certainly be in the squad.
Yeah, I think I said it in my transfer weekly. He's one for the future, and if he does come, he's not going to be the finished article. He's far from it. For example, for his stature, he's 6'2", but he's still not as strong as he needs to be on the ball. For example, his decision making isn't the best, and he's got a bit of a temperament problem because he's only played first team football for two and a half seasons, and he's been sent off 3 times.
Pat Vieira's gonna love that.
Yeah, and also injuries. For someone that young, he's missed 196 days because he's been injured. I think that equivalates to 18 games. But if you add the straight red and then now the 2 double bookings, that quickly adds up to 23 games in 2 and a bit seasons that he's missed. So that's a hell of a lot of games to be missing.
Yeah, I think raw is definitely the word for him. I mean, I read a Twitter thread by a Stuttgart fan who seemed to say that in terms of on the ball, like he's brilliant. Like he's brilliant at pass. It's similar to like Decore, how he can just get out of a situation and find a pass.
Yeah,
very similar in that sense. But the only letdown for him at the moment, well, that, and also defensively, the Stuttgart fans seem to think that he's not the finished article there either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I've seen that one as well. He's saying that he can defend. He's got glimpses of defending brilliantly, but most of the time he makes the wrong decision.
Yeah.
But because of Vieira, who plays the exact same position, I'm sure that Vieira will teach him what to do and coach it into him. Because remember, he's only 20. He's going to learn, isn't he?
Well, yeah, exactly. I think if he's 20, so that makes him younger than I think that's younger than Elise. So he's definitely be one of the youngest in our squad.
Yeah, I think Elise turned 20 the other day, didn't he? Not long ago. Big up, Sean.
For sure.
We haven't seen you in a while, mate. Forrest just scored doing exactly what you said, all pushing forwards, leaving 2 back against 3 forwards. Oops, disallowed goal. Well, yeah, you see, it's like what most teams have been doing, like Fulham's done it to Chelsea when they smacked them up. If you leave a big team no respect whatsoever, it's sink or swim. And look, Chelsea's sunk, so why can't we do the same thing for Man United? We got a point out of them already this season, and I think even then we showed them a bit too much respect. There's no saying what we could do if we fully go at them, but in a sensible way that we don't just throw everything forwards and we're 4-0 down in 20 minutes.
Well,
like I remember we was at the Etihad a few years ago under Roy when we had the black kit.
Yeah, less said about that, the
better. Henderson is a United keeper on loan, so he can't play.
Oh, yeah, true.
I think he should be an under 21 player if he wants to play more because... What? He should be an under 21 player if he wants to play because, for me, he's a bench player for now. I think he's probably too good for the bench, but I'd say competing with Hughes to get on the pitch. So I think purchasing him, he'll definitely be coming off the bench for Hughes or Schlupp or whoever Vieira wants to play. But I'm sure the more he feels comfortable in the role and the more he plays it, I'm sure it will switch to the other way around. So he'll start and then Hughes will come on at 60 minutes, for example.
Just wait for Twitter when if we sign him, and then Pat Vieira starts schlupp.
Because I tell you what, when I was watching clips of him, a game of his, I was really looking at it thinking, yo, this guy would actually be a very good 10. Because if you've seen how he dribbles, how he moves with the ball, he reminds me a lot of Eze, but a lot less silky, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So he's got a good right and left foot, very good at dribbling, got some skills in there, got some pass in there. But he's bloody 6'2", so he's lanky, he's really massive. So I reckon he's got the body stature for the 6 role, but I think his actual playing abilities is more of a 10. But if you can coach him, show him what to do, get him to be a lot stronger, give him a few stakes every week, then listen. The backroom staff at Palace aren't dumb, so they're going to do what's best for the players that are coming in.
Yeah, to be fair, I do think, like, I do think Dougie knows what he's doing.
Oh, of course.
I think all the players we've ever got, like, this is my opinion. I know a lot of people might disagree, but I think all of Dougie's signings have always been pretty spot on. And even if they were crap signings, like they never did anything, we didn't really lose much out of it. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, like Sorlot, for example, we ended up getting we made
£2 million on him somehow.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like Rakip was a loan. Yak again, loan. No, sorry, not a loan, but like very low wages. Do you know what I mean? So like, I think all the ones that have gone wrong,
club legend.
I forgot that guy even existed until he just popped into my head.
Yeah, I was speaking to the old man. I was thinking he plays in like 2nd division Turkey now. Do you think we could get him on for an interview? that'll be hilarious.
Mate, he plays for. No, he plays in the Polish league, the Ekstraklasa.
Cool. Dan, I think that's it for TACT-EAGLE. What do you think? Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. I think those are just the things that I think we could do to help us win this game.
Cool. Well, this was TACT-EAGLE for the Crystal Palace Man United match at Old Trafford. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe. Check out Dan's latest video. I think that one was a Sasha Bowie one. Was your last one? Wasn't it?
Sasha Bowie. Yeah.
Yeah, good watch. I spoke about him briefly in my Transfer Weekly, but Dan goes way more in depth of what he actually does in his play style. So, boys, we're out. Up the Palace.
Eagles!